Hello, it's me, Dr. Prasad Podilam. Continuing my classes on spectroscopic techniques, UV visible spectroscopy, class number 2. So, in my previous class, I explained about the spectroscopy introduction as well as the introduction to even to UV visible spectroscopy, in which we seen that the spectrum range, the frequency range between 10 to the power 14 to 10 to the power 16 in roughly we call it as UV visible spectrum, and that spectrum it is used for UV visible spectroscopy, that radiations are used, and in which the interaction of matter, because spectroscopy is nothing but the interaction of electromagnetic radiation with the matter. So here matter, what we say, that is the molecules, organic or inorganic, whatever the substance that we are taking for analysis. So here the valence electrons of atoms or molecules are mainly participating in the interaction, and that interaction gives the spectrum, and we are going to analyze it. So in this particular class video, I'm explaining many topics. First topic, that is formation of absorption bands, how the absorption bands are formed. One of important questions are asked based on that, why we are getting the absorption bands, what type of absorption bands, nature of the absorption bands there. So if you see the nature of absorption bands, so we plot the UV spectroscopy with absorbance or the absorbance maximum versus the wavelength, that is lambda. And in our expectation, we always expect that the organic molecule or the substance sample will absorb a particular electromagnetic radiation, and we are getting a sharp peak. That is what we expect usually in spectroscopy. Whereas in reality, when we plot the, or when we obtain the spectroscopic plot, we are getting a very broad peak. So this is my hand drawn peak, not so smooth. So we are getting actually a very broad peak like this, roughly like this we are getting in UV visible spectroscopy. So what is the reason? That is maybe one of the important questions in university level question paper that they may ask. So to answer that, we'll see one by one what is that. So this is our expectation. We are expecting a sharp peak, but that when the electrons absorb the UV visible radiation, ultraviolet radiation, or visible radiation, the electrons jump to higher energy level. The valence electrons jumps to a higher energy level, and we should supposed to get a sharp peak, but actually we are very rarely we are getting sharp peak. Most of the time we are getting very broad absorption bands. It is because not only the excitation of the electrons to higher energy level, when they excite to energy level, the molecules, the electrons are present in the molecules. The molecules also absorb some part of the UV visible radiations. They undergo the vibrational as well as rotational movement. So vibratory and rotatory movement in detail is explained in IR spectroscopy. So yeah, I'm not going in detail, but even all these electronic excitation or vibrational motion due to absorption of electromagnetic radiation, or rotational motion of the molecule due to absorption of electromagnetic, all are quantized. It will not absorb or any radiation and undergo excitation or vibration or even rotation. Some quantized amount of photons, when it is absorbed, then only it undergo this type of movements. So molecular vibration, when we say, when we consider a molecule, so I took an example as A, B. They combined to form a molecule where in which the red dots represent the bonded pair of electrons, and the bonded pair of electrons, we, even without applying the electromagnetic radiation, if electromagnetic radiation is not applied, in normal case, they have a mean position of the electrons when they shade. It will be vibrating here, and within that limit. So if I can say, this is the mean point where the electrons, the bonded pair of electrons, occupy between A and B. When it absorbs the UV radiations or visible radiations, even the possibility of vibration, even at lower energy radiations, when they absorb the possible vibrations, it is represent a little bit movement of the electrons away from each other. Not the electrons, the atoms with the electrons will also absorb some of the radiations, and they undergo this type of vibrational motion. Even at higher energy levels, even the vibrations will be bigger. Okay, therefore we can say, as it absorbs more and more radiations, electromagnetic spectrum, especially we are discussing about UV visible spectroscopy. Therefore, UV visible radiations, when they absorb, they can also undergo this type of vibrational motions. this vibration motion, therefore we can see when we clearly observe that, we can see that it will be following a harmonic type vibrations, not exactly harmonic. That also explained in IR spectroscopy. So here you can say that they represented that mean position, it will expand to a certain extent, then it comes back to the normal position. Therefore, we can say that this is the particular vibration mode when it absorbs lower energy. Therefore, the total energy absorbed is represented as even, that is lower energy levels, or even in ground state also they are having this type of vibration. Therefore, it is represented as V1, then V2, then when it absorbs the radiation, even it gets to higher energy. Now, not only the vibrational movement, even it includes the rotational movement. Rotation takes place between single bonds, rotation possible. Even if a pi bond is present, the pi bond, if it breaks, then the rotation, free rotation is possible between the atoms of the molecule. So again, I represent with A and B, two atoms joined to form a molecule. Now the rotation is possible, say that it rotates. Here I represent only the A is rotating, if I represent B is rotating, it looks the same. Therefore, only A I am represent that it is getting rotated. Therefore, the rotation of that molecule also it absorbs the radiation to undergo this type of rotation. Okay, therefore, the rotation also includes along with the vibration. Therefore, I represent it as R1. And at a higher energy level, even further, faster or high energy, it absorbs and undergo rotational motion. That is R2 represented. So when the molecules, along with this vibration, what we are discussing, that is shifting of electron to a higher energy level. So higher energy level in a plane, we have to represent as higher energy level like this, E2. Okay, there also it will absorb the electromagnetic radiation, undergo the electronic shift takes place. Then also it undergo vibrational as well as a rotational motion. Therefore, we can say that these represents the bands. Therefore, this is the representation of the jumping to higher energy level. Therefore, it absorbs different radiations. Not only the electronic shift for that absorbed the radiation, as well as the radiations are absorbed, the lambda or the wavelength it is absorbed, or photons are absorbed to undergo the vibrational as well as the rotational motion. Therefore, we can say that these represents the absorption bands. Okay, not only we are getting a single peak as such, it undergo vibrational as well as rotational motion. So it is superimposed. So electronic excitation, it is superimposed upon vibrational and rotational levels. That during electronic excitation, electrons move from a given vibrational and rotational level with one electronic mode, a particular electronic mode which absorbs it jumps to another electronic mode which is having a different type of vibrational and rotational level. So because of that, when we get the spectrum, we are getting broad spectrum, and a large number of electromagnetic radiations of wavelength which are closer to each other, they are absorbed. So we are supposed to get absorbed, we are expecting only a particular wavelength which is getting absorbed, but actually in reality the wavelength which are near to that, a little bit higher wavelength as well as a little bit lower wavelength, they are also getting absorbed, and therefore we are getting a broad peak. Okay, therefore not just one but a large number of wavelengths which are close enough will be observed, resulting in the formation of a broad band. Now, second topic under this particular video class is theory of electronic spectroscopy. Theory of electronic spectroscopy: when a molecule absorbs UV or visible radiation, its electrons gets promoted from ground state to the higher energy state. That is the normal what we explaining in UV visible spectroscopy. Along with the vibration and rotational motion is there that we see in the case. So generally we say that electrons of the valence electrons jump to higher energy level. From the ground state it goes to higher energy level. Therefore, the lower energy level represented like this. Two electrons represented here. Electrons in ground state, usually they are paired. The paired spin. So for one electron is in up spin, is if it is there, the next electron which is near to that bonded pair, it will be lower spin. Therefore, it is paired electrons, and it will jump to a higher energy level, and we get a paired electron state only. Therefore, paired electron state to a paired electronic higher energy state is easy. Okay, it absorbs the electrons and it goes to the higher energy level, and there also it is paired. If it is paired, then we can say that each spin is having a value of half. Okay, so this is the first one, it represents plus half. Then the second electron, it represents minus half. Therefore, if you calculate the spin multiplicity, 2s plus 1, that is the spin multiplicity of the electron. So if you calculate, you can say that s it becomes 0, plus half and minus half, it becomes 0. So 2 in 0, it is 0, plus 1, that is 1. That means it is singlet. So here this one term, then spin multiplicity, if it is 1, means we can say that it is a singlet state. Therefore, here the electrons are in singlet state. From ground state, it goes to the higher energy level, which is usually in singlet state. Another possibility is of getting so here what is mentioned here, that they are paired and we call it as excited single state. Another possibility is that they will be unpaired. They will not pair each other, but when they are not pairing each other, they have to stay far away. That is known as the triplet state. Here the spin multiplicity, if you calculate, it is 3. Therefore, we call it as triplet state. So the electrons are parallel to each other. They are not paired. They are parallel. The arrangement, the spin of electrons are parallel to each other. We call it as triplet state. So usually the excited triplet state, it is having lower energy. That's why I represented it with a lower energy state here. This is higher energy, and ground state anyhow it is having very high, very low energy. Very low energy means that is more stable. Higher energy means they are less stable. And triplet state compared to single state, they are having lower energy. Lower energy means it is a little bit more stable than that of excited singlet state. So here the in triplet state, the electrons are farther apart. They are arranged at they are stay at a little bit far distance. Therefore, there are less repulsion between the electrons. Therefore, they are more stable. Now, normally the excitation from ground state to a higher energy level, it usually gives the singlet excited state, and usually it proceeds with the retention of spin. That is, we are getting a singlet state. That means from the ground state as such, it jumps to the higher energy level. The spins are not varied as such. We are getting the singlet state. And this particular energy transition from ground state to triplet state, it is forbidden. It is not happening in reality. Therefore, we call it as it is a forbidden state, a forbidden energy level jump. Even the energy level at excited singlet state, it can rearrange. The electrons can rearrange to give the triplet state. When they jump rearrange, that means energy difference is there. That means some energy it has to lose. So when it loses a little bit energy, that energy will be lost as light energy. Therefore, when it jumps or it goes to lower energy level, that is singlet state to triplet state, it emits a certain amount of energy as light. That is the emission, what we call it as. So the higher highly probable transition due to absorption of quantized energy involves the promotion of one electron from the highest occupied molecular orbital to the lowest available unoccupied molecular orbital. Okay, that is comes under molecular orbitals theory. We call it as MOT. Okay, so MOT, I'm not going in detail about MOT. So we know this represents the atomic orbitals. Two atomic orbitals, they are combined to form the molecular orbital. That is MOT, molecular orbital theory. It explains. So we are getting MO. AO combines to form atomic orbitals combined to form MO. So I here also I didn't represent all the molecular orbitals just for to understand this concept that electron jumps to lowest that what is that highest occupied molecular orbital and lowest available unoccupied molecular orbital, that only represented. Even some atoms when they combine they form molecular orbital, sigma pz comes first, then say pi px as well as pi py having higher energy. Some cases it is having pi px and pi vy is having lower energy, and sigma pz is having higher energy. Okay, so don't get confused with that. So this is just for a representation purpose I put kept here. Even I didn't represent that this 1p or 2p also. So here the electrons present in one of the atomic orbiter, it is came to this particular molecular orbiter. Therefore, we can call this as the occupied orbiter, or it is the highest energy level. Okay, more electrons are filled at a lower energy levels of that molecular orbiter. So here only I represented here. So this is the highest occupied molecular orbital. Here and here sigma pz is there, but it is not occupied. Therefore, highest occupied molecular orbital, or we call it as HOMO. HOMO means highest occupied molecular orbital. It jumps to the lowest unoccupied molecular orbital. So these two, star represents anti-bonding, pi star as well as sigma star. This is actually star. Here it looks as just a dot, but actually it is a star, pi star, or asterisk we have to use. So this is the lowest unoccupied molecular orbital. Therefore, electrons. So one electron represented as one electron. More electrons can jump to higher energy level. So by definition here it is said that it took the example of one electron only. Therefore, one electron jumps from highest occupied molecular orbital to the lowest unoccupied molecular orbital, or from bonding molecular orbital to anti-bonding molecular orbital. So anti-bonding means they are having repulsion. Electrons are repulsion. They are very less stable. Whenever we get chances, they want to occupy. They want to come back to the lower energy, more stable molecular orbital, bonding molecular orbital. Okay, so that is about that. In most of the cases, several transitions. So not only one electron, several transitions occurs, resulting in the formation of several bands. Jumps to a higher energy level. More electrons can also jump to higher energy level. Then further, if energy is given, can also jump to higher energy, further higher energy level. So all those possibilities are also there. Now, types of electronic transition. Third point, I think, in this particular video, types of electronic transition. This one already we've seen in the first video on UV visible spectroscopy. If not clear about this concept, please go back and watch that video. It is there in my YouTube channel, My Intuition, in the playlist for master's degree students or MSc chemistry. It is available. So here we can see we have different energy levels. That is for sigma bonding, pi bonding, n that is lone pair of electron or non-bonding, then pi star anti-bonding pi star orbital, and anti-bonding sigma star, and the representation how the electrons are arranged on what will be the actual shape. Okay, a three-dimensional shape is also represented here. Okay, this is based on the electrons present, the availability of a present electrons present around the nucleus. Based on that, this particular structure is given. So sigma bonds can be of sp3 bond or sp3s bond. Both are represented here. Please watch my previous video to understand that more. And here this is sidewise overlapping, that is pi bond. And non-pair of non-bonding, that is lone pair of electrons, means electrons should be in the mainly in the p orbital. As such, we are usually discuss about p orbital having lone pair of electron. Therefore, it may be upper side or it may be lower side. So both are represented here. This is pi star, that is their repulsion is there, and this one is sigma star. Here also we can see the electrons are repelled. They are not coming to each other. Nodes are created. Okay, so continuation. The types of electronic transition. The types of electronic transition, which is mainly seen, many different type of electron transition we can discuss. All electron transition we can discuss, but in UV visible spectroscopy, some of the possible electronic transition only we are explaining here. I'm not going in detail about the forbidden transitions and all. So the possible electronic transitions are from sigma to sigma star, which is having a higher energy difference is there. Therefore, higher energy radiations it require. Higher energy radiation means lower wavelength radiations it is required. So energy and wavelength, they are inversely proportional to each other. The second possible transition, it is from n to sigma star, that is electrons in the lone pair electrons or non-bonding electrons. We already seen the shape of that. It can go to sigma star level, or it can become that particular shape. Okay, whenever we call that electrons are jump to higher energy level, don't think that when even I was a student, I used to think in that manner that electrons from the atom or molecule, it jumps away, just like we seen in ground or playground, people are doing, or the sportsmen, they are doing the high jump. This type of jump is not there. The arrangement of electrons are becoming less stable arrangement. The electrons are repelling into each other, or they are going to the anti-bonding side. They are not forming bonded pairs. That is the meaning of jumping to higher energy level. Okay, as such, the electrons will not jump to some other to the space or to other molecule as such. So the second possibility what is given here, that is n2 sigma star. That means the bonding shape the electrons or the electrons in the bonding non-bonding orbital, it will go to anti-bonding side. Okay, it the more stable bonding non-bonding electron becomes a very less stable sigma star anti-bonding side. That is the meaning of this jump. The third possibility, that is from pi to pi star. The pi bonding also you seen, pi star shape also you seen. Therefore, that is the change happens. The electrons will absorb the energy and it becomes the pi star type molecules. Then becomes N2 pi star. So these four transitions are mainly seen, and from this picture itself, it is clear that the first one, that is sigma to sigma star, is having higher energy required for this transition, and the second one, that is N2 sigma star, it requires the second most energy absorbed. Then pi to pi star, and last it is N2 pi star. Therefore, you can say that sigma to sigma star is having higher, it requires higher energy. They are not having higher energy, it requires higher energy for this transition. Then N2 sigma star requires higher energy, then pi to pi star, and very less energy is required for the conversion of a lone pair of electron non-bonding shape to the pi star shape. That is to jump from N to pi star. We see one by, we'll discuss or explain one by one. That is first one, that is sigma to sigma star. Sigma to sigma star, we know sigma bonds, that is usually called as covalent bonds. They are found by the mutual overlapping of the atomic orbital. They are very strong. So generally they are strong, therefore very high energy required. Very high energy means very lower wavelength radiations required, or high frequency radiations required, lower wavelength radiations required. For example, saturated hydrocarbons, they are having sigma bonds. They are having only sigma bonds, whereas other organic compounds, unsaturated or another group present, they may having pi sidewise overlapping, or even they may contain a lone pair of electrons, just like a heteroatoms present, they have a lone pair of electrons. So here example is saturated hydrocarbon without any heteroatoms. That means I can represent it as a carbon bond. Okay, so a carbon carbon bond in which the carbons are connected to only alkyl groups, or connected to further carbon atoms only, then we call it as a completely saturated. There is no formation of double bond. So here only single bond is present. So the single bond means whenever we represent a line bond, means that is actually it contains two electrons are shared there. Okay, the outermost orbitals, the electrons are shared of that of carbon as well as the second carbon. So when it becomes a sigma to sigma star transition, we can simply represent it as, in this way we can represent one of the electrons go near to the carbon anti-bonding side. That means electrons are not jumped to higher energy level as such. Means it is not jumped away. It is still there within that two carbon, but they are not bonded pair of electrons now. It becomes anti-bonding. It is not bonded with this next carbon. Therefore, we can say this is the sigma star case. Okay, now I think now it is clear to you that whenever we say that electron jumps to higher energy level, means it is not going away from that system of that molecular system. It is still there, but it is not forming that stable configuration or stable state. It is not there. It becomes a less stable state. Then it requires radiation of higher energy or lower wavelength, well below 200 nanometer. So 200 nanometer, when we say below 200 nanometer, means that is the far UV visible spectrum. Okay, that also explained in detail in my first video, UV spectrum class number 1. So if you are not clear about this point, you just go back and check that video. So far below 200 nanometer means it is the far UV radiation. But in our normal UV visible spectroscopy, we are using from 200 to 800 nanometer range radiations are used. The wavelength of light from 200 to 800 nanometer, or 200 millimicrons to 800 millimicrons, or even 2000 angstrom to 8000 angstrom. Okay, therefore, for example of molecules which can give this type of transition are alkanes or hydrocarbons like methane, propane. They are non-cyclic hydrocarbons, straight chain hydrocarbon. Even the cyclic one, that is cyclohexane, can also show sigma to sigma star transition. And the lambda maximum, the maximum wavelength which required to which these compounds absorbs fall well below 140 nanometer. Therefore, they will not absorb our normal 200 to 800 nanometer range radiation. They will not absorb. There will not be any transition from sigma to sigma star. Therefore, even our studies, UV visible spectroscopy instrumentation, actual practice, when we can use cyclohexane, such molecule as the solvent for other molecules, because we need a solution to study the UV visible spectroscopy mainly. Therefore, cyclohexane such molecule can be used as a solvent because they will not absorb the UV visible radiation with a wavelength 200 to 800 nanometer. So sigma to sigma star as such we cannot study in our UV visible spectrophotometer. The second possible transition, that is N to sigma star. N to sigma star takes place in saturated compounds but containing lone pair of electron or unshared pair of electrons, or we call it as N electrons, which is mainly either in heteroatoms. Whenever you say heteroatoms, it is oxygen and nitrogen, even halogens are you can consider as heteroatom. These other than carbon and hydrogen having lone pair of electrons, lone pair of electrons in their p orbitals mainly. So these transitions require comparatively less energy than required for the sigma sigma star transition. Example are saturated halides, alcohols, ethers, aldehydes, ketones, and amines, etc. Say example, water molecule. It has got a absorption maximum of about 167 nanometer. I'm not giving the exact value because it varies with the quality of the water as well as the instrument which we use. Therefore, roughly about 167 nanometer will be getting. It will be absorbing the UV ultraviolet radiation, that is far ultraviolet radiation. So the representation of water molecule, it consists of oxygen with a lone pair of electrons. Therefore, this lone pair of electron, non-bonding electrons, that is N, it can go to sigma star, because already sigma bonds are there, means sigma star possibility is also there. Therefore, this N can go to the sigma star state. For example, methanol, it absorbs around 183 nanometer. Methanol, it can represent, it also has got oxygen with non-bonding electrons. Two electrons are there, or we call it as lone pair of electrons in our common practice. We call it as lone pair of electrons. They can also jump, or they can also absorb radiation and go to the anti-bonding sigma, or sigma star orbitals, or sigma star level, or sigma star state. It can jump, it can move. Another example is methyl chloride around 172 to 170 nanometer. Methyl iodide, similar example, but it is iodide, not chloride. In methyl chloride, chlorine is there. Methyl iodide, iodine is there, and it has got a lambda max of approximately 258 nanometer. Therefore, there is a drastic variation is seen here. So that some other effects like the electronegativity. We know that the electronegativity of halogens varying, the size is also varying. In alkyl halide, the energy required for the N to sigma star transition decreases with the increase in the size of halogen atom. That means the iodine is bigger in size, and they are having a decrease in electronegativity is also lesser. Therefore, the free electrons, the lone pair of electrons, are very loosely bound in case of iodine. Therefore, very lower, very high wavelength radiations. High wavelength radiation means they are having lower frequency. Lower frequency means they are having higher. They are having lower energy. Okay, if lambda is higher, means energy required is low. So to understand that concept, you please go back to the introduction to spectroscopy. In that, I explained in detail about the wave number, wavelength, frequency, energy. All those concepts I explained very in detail. Okay, therefore, the N electrons of iodine are loosely bound compared to that of chlorine. Therefore, it requires a higher wavelength or lower energy. The third possibility, that is pi to pi star. Pi to pi star means the molecule should have pi bond, that is sidewise overlapping of p orbitals. That means they are unsaturated molecules, unsaturated organic molecules only, which contains double or triple bonds, and even aromatic compounds. Aromatic compounds, you know, it is benzene and related compound. They are also having double bond. So pi bonds are weaker bonds. You know, they are obtained by sidewise overlapping, but they are not mutually overlapped. Sidewise overlapping, and the excitation required from the shifting of that or movement of electron from the bonding pi to anti-bonding pi level, it is very less energy is required, or we can say that longer wavelength it will absorb. Examples are alkenes, alkynes, carbonyl compounds, cyanides, azo compounds. They are having double bonds. Alkenes already we know they are hydrocarbon with double bond. Alkanes they are having triple bond. Carbonyl compounds means aldehydes and ketones, that is carbon double bond with oxygen. Cyanides means C double bond C triple bond N. Azo compounds means they are N double bond N. Such molecules are also having pi to pi star. Fourth one, that is N to pi star transition. That is the unshared electron pair on a heteroatom gets excited to pi star anti-bonding orbital. That means the organic molecule should have lone pair of electrons, that is heteroatoms required, as well as it needs pi bonds, that is double bond or triple bond also required. That examples it can represent, say oxygen connected to carbon is an aldehyde functional group or ketonic functional group, or we call it as carbonyl functional group, in which the heteroatom oxygen having lone pair of electron, as well as it's connected to a carbon by a double bond. Double bond means pi electrons or pi bond. So this lone pair as well as pi electrons are there. Therefore, pi electrons are there means pi star anti-bonding orbitals also there. Pi bonding molecular orbital is there. Pi star anti-bonding molecular also is there. That is there in molecular orbital MOT. You can study in detail. So here I can say that if pi electrons are also there and lone pair of electron, unshared electrons or n electrons are also present, such type of molecules can absorb UV visible radiations and gives n to pi star transition. They require even lesser energy and higher wavelength. So in this type of molecules, even though it contains n to pi star transition is there, another transition is also possible, which is in just the previous one, third point. That is, it can also give pi to pi star transitions. Therefore, aldehydes or ketones which exhibits two bands, a more intense band at 180 to 200 nanometer corresponding to pi to pi star transition, and a low intensity, that is n to pi star transition at about 280 nanometer. Intensity means the peak when we obtain sharp peak, even though it is sharp peak, but it goes to a bigger, more UV visible radiations it absorbs, and we are getting more intense peaks. Okay, even the functional groups like C double bond, that is carbonyl functional group, CS, even N double bond hetero groups, they show us N to pi star transitions. The next topic, that is chromophore and oxochromes, is very interesting concept in UV visible spectroscopy, very important concept in UV visible spectroscopy. Chromophores are some of the groups present in the organic molecules, mainly unsaturated groups, which is responsible for the color of the sample or color of the molecule. Okay, they are called chromophore. That they are the color of a substance it is due to the color is presence due to presence of one or more unsaturated groups present, or they are responsible for the electronic absorption, and they are called chromophores. Example: C double bond N, even C triple bond N, C double bond O, N double bond N are example. Even nitro compounds, usually nitro compounds, they are yellow in color. That is because it consists of a N double bond O. We can call it as a chromophore. Aryl conjugated azo groups present, they also provide color, mainly that azo dyes. Dyes means they are having color. Therefore, azo dyes, the color is due to the presence of the chromophore in that. Then other groups like ethylenic group, we know what is ethane. The ethane group, which is having a triple bond, we call it as ethylenic group or ethylenic. Then acetylene, you know, that in its particular group we call it as acetylenic group. Then carbonyl group, acids, the acids containing C double bond or single bond OH, esters, nitrile groups, etc. are example for chromophores. Even some chromophores, they may not have color. Okay, so previous slide explanation say that they are responsible for the color. Even they may not give color, but they absorb the UV radiation or UV radiation mainly. Visible radiation absorption means it requires color. It absorbs the UV radiation. Say example, carbonyl group. They will not impart any color as such, but they are example for chromophore. That means to chromophore, there is no such particular definitions are not given. Many groups are comes under chromophores, but there are some important points only we can discuss in case of chromophore. Most of the time we explain in terms of color. The chromophores are the group which impart color to the molecule, and certain chromophores they will not impart color, but still they absorb the UV visible UV radiations, and it's treated under chromophores. So some of the important points that we need to note down are the group containing pi electrons which undergo pi to pi star transition. Example, ethylene, acetylene. Okay, some interruption happened. I think now it is visible to you. Okay, so some group which contains both pi electrons and n electrons, which also undergo pi to pi star transition as well as n to pi star transition. Examples are carbonyl, nitriles, azo group, nitro group, etc. Comes under this type of category. More important points, the band near 350 nanometer may contain two or more conjugated units. Absorption band observed at around 270 to 350 nanometer with a lower intensity, that is the molar absorptive coefficient or the extinction coefficient maximum value, it is 10 to 100, that the intensity is less. So we are getting peak but very smaller peaks of about intensity of 10 to 100 are due to n to pi star transition of carbonyl groups. Simple conjugated chromophores, that means conjugation is the alternate single and double bond is there, but it is limited, not many conjugation, it is not continuing for a longer distance. We call it as dienes, or even alpha beta unsaturated ketone, that is ketone functional group present in that molecule, and the next carbon which is connected to that ketone functional group, it is having a double bond. So a ketone, if we treat as a functional group, then the next nearby carbon we call it as alpha carbon, and the next carbon we call it as beta carbon. Between those two carbons, if double bond is there, we call it as alpha beta unsaturated ketones. They have high intensity to absorb the UV radiation. Bigger peaks are obtained, that is the meaning of that. That is around 10,000 to 20,000, that is representing dienes as well as alpha beta unsaturated ketones. Even the values between that of 1,000 to 10,000, that is due to aromatic system. Now oxochrons, any group which will not impart color or which will not absorb UV radiation as such, but it will support if it is present in the molecule along with the chromophore. If chromophore molecule is present along with some other group of atoms present which will support the chromophore, we call it as oxochrons. Usually they support and the absorption spectrum shift or the absorption of near to red color are absorbed, that is it shifts to the red end of the spectrum. Red end of the spectrum means they are having longer wavelength. Okay, so the VIBGYOR or as well as UV, the spectrum as well as their wavelength as well as their frequency or their energy levels or their wave number, everything it is explained in my previous video. Go through that and then it will be clear to you what is the red end as well as the violet end. Red end, the next one it is IR radiations. Violet end it we call as a UV range. Okay, even we can call the oxochrons as color enhancing groups. Example for oxochromes are OH, OR, NH2, NHR, SH, thiol group or amine group, primary amine, ether group, alcoholic functional group. They are all having, they are can enhance because they are all having a heteroatom present in that. Oxygen is there having lone pair. Here also oxygen is there having lone pair. Nitrogen having lone pair. Sulfur having lone pair. So those will support if they are in conjugation with the chromophore. Already we have seen that the chromophore they are having unsaturation, double bonds are there, or conjugated double bonds are present. So if these molecules are present near to that conjugation, or it becomes a part of the conjugation. Okay, what is the conjugation? How lone pair of electron or heteroatom become a part of conjugation? That is explained in my organic chemistry class. Okay, so here the lone pair of electron, or they extend the conjugation of chromophore by sharing the lone pair or non-bonding electrons. Say when we say example, the effect of oxochrome, benzene molecule, it is not having any oxochrome as such. Only C6 carbon and hydrogen is there. They are having alternate double bonds, but if they color, they are in resonance. Partial double bond nature is there. They show lambda max at about 255 nanometer with an intensity of only 203. Whereas if it connects with the NH2 group, benzene containing an NH2 group, we call it as aniline, which shows a absorption maximum at 285 nanometer with a intensity of around 1430. So this change 255 to 285, and here the intensity from 203 to 1430, that is because of the presence of NH2. NH2 group, it is an example for oxochrome. Okay, so that is about some of the points connected to UV visible spectroscopy. Even still, those who are not subscribed my YouTube channel, please do subscribe. My intuition, that is the name of my YouTube channel. Like the videos, then only I can understand the topics what I explained. It is you understood that concept, and share to those who still didn't get this video. So thank you very much for watching my video.